Hello and welcome to Blackman's Bay Studios, and in this mini-sode, bit of a sporting theme, Keith.
Yeah, well, football, mate.
Football it is, yeah.
Football in the Cray. We'll be mentioning some of the players we've played with and some of the teams we've played for, and of course there were some good players come off the Cray.
There were some very, very good players.
You know,
very
I mean,
good
there was, we'll talk about them as we go and things like that. But I just want to apologise on the front titles there. You'll see a load of names, and we couldn't get everybody on, but that was really the original. Well, what we can remember is really the original Partridge come Cray United team that we put together from a hodgepodge of players in the public borough of Partridge.
That's right, yeah.
You know, and we ended up a lot of players came in and out of the side. You know, I used to play for other teams. I mean, at the time when we put that team together, I was the only one that ever played any league football. Mm-hmm. Long before Dickie Hooker and Joey Rickwood and that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was playing for Sidcup Rangers when I was still at school. You know, and we'll talk about that school stuff in a while. But So you know.
So where did it all start for you, Keith?
Well, obviously started down the infants and probably, no it didn't actually. Funny story about that. I was playing football down in Croxley Close, you know, down there.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I used to play with Jimmy Kane when Jimmy Kane was probably 5 or 6 years old. You know, we used to kick a ball out on there, and we used to have games against Powerwell Close.
Yeah.
You know, Stevie Miller's team.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we had a nifty little side there, like, you know. And that's where because Jimmy just lived over the back from me, and in Croxley Close. Yeah. So I really started then, you know, and kicking a ball about in the streets, and I had to go down to Broome Avenue to kick a ball about because the Broomwood Hill, you know, you'd lose the ball a bit.
Yeah. But when you think about it, as kids, all we did was play football, cricket, and go up the woods, scrumping, things like that. It doesn't sound like much, but it was an idyllic childhood, and that's why you had so many good players come out of the Crays.
Well, you could just walk over to Oblingwell Park, and on a Sunday, you'd see hundreds of people over there kicking a ball about.
Yeah.
The council didn't like it, or the grounds people didn't like it. They used to try to shut the goal areas off because back in them days, you know. Different now, but the goals areas was just like a quagmire, weren't they?
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
Terrible, you know, some terrible drainage up there. Yeah. I'll say terrible. It wasn't that bad, but you know, when the use those grounds used to get.
Yeah, well, good though, was it?
So, what about you, Mick? You I played football at school at Grays Farm. Played for the school side. Went up to midfield, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But you played for a very good midfield side, didn't you, Mick?
Yeah, midfield junior school.
We got a graphic.
Yeah, they had a very good team, but they all left to go to the senior school. So they got together a group of players, and they didn't realise just how many good players they had. So if we get the photograph up, because I want to use this show to pay tribute to someone who I believe made the biggest contribution to that team. Now, so if with the picture, now this is not to say that the other players weren't very good. They were all very good players. I mean, in defence we had Mickey Shanahan, who's there on the right. He looks a bit podgy, but don't let that fool you. He was a very strong player.
A very shy Ray Banwell.
Yeah, he's there. He's in there. Now, up front, we had three players. You had George Little, he's the bloke holding the cup. He was a very good player. Now to the left you've got John Brown, who was another very, very good player. And on the right of George, we've got Don Butterfield, who was a fabulous player. I could talk a programme about him, but they're not the players that I'm going to refer to. I want to pay tribute to Peter Scorer. He's the chap sitting down on the far left with the glasses, and I think he come from up Breakspears or
he come from Blythe Hill. Actually,
Blythe Hill, yeah.
I played in a couple of league sides with Peter.
Yeah,
he was good.
Now, the best analogy I can make for Peter Scorer is David Beckham. When he got the ball,
was a big call, Mick.
No, when he crossed the ball into the box, every single time he always put the defence and the goalkeeper under pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I'm not saying he was as good as David Beckham, but his talent was to put that ball into the danger area. So what he used to play on the right wing, and he used to scamper down the ring, virtually on the line.
Yeah.
And he'd get to almost to the corner flag, and he'd float the ball over. Now we're talking about those old-fashioned level football,
Christmas puddings.
That got really heavy when they was wet, like kicking a bit of concrete. But he used to be able to float it over into the middle there, and you had those three players who were very, very good in the air, which is unusual for 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they got dozens of goals. Now, they got goals in their own right, created and scored goals. But the contribution that Peter made to that team was fantastic. So if you know Peter Scorer, tell him about this. And Pete, if ever you see this, it's been a long time coming, but I'm glad to put the record straight. That you made a fantastic contribution to that team. It's a credit to you that 50 years later I can sit here and talk about you. So make sure your kids watch this and show them what bloody good footballer you were.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm really pleased to be able to say that after all this time.
Now we then moved up into the senior school, of course,
yeah.
and there was some good players in the midfield school. I mean, there was 4 or 5 players in our year that actually played for Kent.
Yeah.
You know, we had 2 players, Alan Walker and Dave Sullivan, who had trials for England schoolboys. They never played, but they had trials for England schoolboys. Yeah. I think Alan Walker was captain of the Kent side, actually. And so we had some really good players, and there was a lot of players come forward. We've got a bit of a graphic of the 1966. That was the year we won the World Cup.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Little graphic here of the 1966 football team, and you know that was a good side. That was
a very good side. Now, there's 2 things I'd like to say about that to start off with. Firstly, I could never understand why you never played in that team right from the beginning, because you was always what was called the archetypal English centre forward. You was always a big lad.
Yeah.
Very, very good in the air, very powerful, good shot with both feet. I, on the other hand, I did play in that side, but I had a couple of issues and my eyes started failing, and I was replaced by Mickey Marchant, which was the right decision. I deserved it. I mean, I could hardly see, but there
well, he was one of the Kent players. He went on to become goalkeeper.
He was he was a good player, and I was having trouble with that Bummer Russell as well at the time. So I sort of fell out of love with football, you know.
Yeah.
And
but then we picked it up. But actually, I want to say something. I'll bring that photo back up, and you know, there's and I'll bring the other one up. You know, I'll mix and match them as a graphic, if you like. There's a player, you know, Mick, who was in your side at midfield. He was in the team that I was in there, the school side there. He was also in our opening graphics, Mick.
Yes, he was, yes.
And that player is Ray Banwell. Yes. I mean, Ray Banwell's not been noted for his, you know, being hyperactive, has he? You know, but
definitely not.
He certainly must have been when he was a kid, mustn't he? You know?
He was a good footballer. He was very useful.
Yeah, Ray wasn't a bad player when we started.
Now, there's that graphic of the 66 team. I've been looking at that, and down there on the right seated is Mickey Shanahan, who played in the team, the junior team. Now, when they brought in the new footballs, the ones with the plastic coated, he was playing down the pitch down by midfield way there. I think it was a school game. I don't know. I'm not sure. And it was wet. And the ball skidded up and bounced more than he was expected, and glanced his eye, and it detached his retina. And he was off for about 3 months with that. These was in the days when they actually cut the eyeball open and sewed it back in. No lasers in those days. And I don't think he played for the school again, but he was a fabulous defender, really strong in the air. So it was a big shame, for Mick.
Yeah. And then we went up, but we were in the Partridge. I mean, like I said, I was the only one who's played football. we played a charity game up at Oblingwell for the old people's home. I think we spoke about that before.
Yeah.
And then so we decided to put together this this little team, and it was a funny side. I mean, you know, you only got to look at the names. You know, scroll back to the opening graphic. You only got to look at them just to tell you how how comical a lot of it would have been, because it was so funny, wasn't it?
It was great fun.
Everybody enjoyed themselves. And then we started to get a little bit more serious, and some of the players started to take it a bit more serious, and they went on to become, you know, some of the best players in the area. And I'm specifically talking about, you know, people like Dickie Hooker and Joey Rickwood and players like that.
Yeah.
But as it progressed, we got more and more players coming, you know, and we ended up playing with and against, you know, some of the area's best sides. You got Bobby Mason, you know, you had Trevor Willis and people
Bobby
like
Wood.
that, Bobby Wood, you know, and we actually, I never played in the same team. I played a couple of games with Bobby Mason, but never, you know, at that level. But some of the players used to come into our side, and we ended up really as a de facto Cray United second 11 in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when I left school there, Martin Hodson and Ray Banwell and myself used to play in a team in London for Tommy Straff's team, and you might know Pat Riding. We're talking about her dad, Tom, and he used to run, I can't remember how many football teams. He ran dozens and dozens of football teams, you know, out of the borough.
Yeah.
And when he moved down into the Cray, he was still running them. And so we went up there, used to play up Southwark Park, and that's where we had our very first encounter, the three of us, with the Deaf and Dumb team.
Yep.
You know, that we ended up...
Played quite a few games.
We played quite a few games for there against them in the end. Didn't we?
I always thought it funny because the referee used to have flags and a whistle, and they couldn't speak because they were deaf and dumb, but they could swear, couldn't they?
The biggest problem against playing against them, they were as hard as nails, because your hearing is a lot to do with the balance. They had no sense of balance. They used to run straight into you, you know, and they wouldn't stop. They just come tearing straight into you, you know.
Yeah. There was no malice in them at all.
No.
Always a very clean game, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there was lots of fantastic players, and as you said, there was, you know, we ended up playing with Jimmy Kane again. He came and we were when Chrissy Whelan was running the team, and you know, Danny Shanahan and players like that, you know.
Yeah.
And Mickey Sparrow, and I think his brother Peter played, if I remember. But yeah, there were some great footballers around. Gary Friend, of course, you know, he was another one, and you know, he was a fantastic player. And but all in all, that group of players, if you like, they were, I don't know, you know, everyone knew one another, didn't they? You know, they used to move in and out of squads and out of games. You know,
it wasn't until we started playing that I really started falling in love with football again, playing it and just enjoying it. You know, it wasn't about, you know, winning every game. It was good company.
Yeah.
We weren't a very good team to start off with. We got better, which was a bonus.
Yeah.
But it was the enjoyment, the pure enjoyment you get from playing football.
Yeah.
You know,
and then we went off and played a little bit of five-a-side up at Wandsworth. Wandsworth, Walworth Road, somewhere like that, up that way. And
we did play a game over Welling somewhere, didn't we? And I think Alan Walker came along, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, we had that was a good game. That was, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we had a bit of a, you know, and of course Alan Greenland. You know, Alan was another fantastic
very good
player. Wasn't he,
yeah.
Alan, we came along and we ended up playing for, he ended up playing for us in a Sunday league, you know, again. So, but the trouble is, I played for that many teams on that many days. I was playing 4 games a weekend. Yeah. You know, I used to play for the Ollies. You know, the
I know,
not the group. Yeah. I used to play for the orphanage down the bottom of Sidcup there, and like I said, Sidcup Rangers, and ended up playing at Cray Valley Paper Mills with, well, I can only describe him as the best player off the Cray.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Best player off the Cray by far was Wally Scoble.
Yeah.
And you know, there's been some chat on the Crays Facebook page about Tony Cascarino. Let me tell you, Wally would have eaten him. You know, Wally was such a class player, and he had, you know, he had the opportunity to go to some of the big professional clubs, but in them days, back in the 50s, he was. You know, he would earn more money down Cray Valley Paper Mills doing shift work.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a shame, really, isn't it?
It is, you know, because...
bloke with that talent, that sort of talent...
Yeah.
should be rewarded.
Yeah, I think so. And
I never played with Wally, but the best player I played with was Jimmy Kane. Easily, Jimmy Kane. I mean, where I went wrong with him, I used to marvel at him, the way he used to... When he was on the ball, he was that good gliding round people and all that.
Yeah.
But here's a question for you, Keith.
Yep, go on.
Now, I've played a little bit of a tribute to you because I think you was a lot better player than a lot of people will give you credit for. Do you think you could have gone on and been a professional player?
Well, I'm going to say no, and I'll tell you the reason why, Mick.
Right, go on then.
I haven't got bow-legged. Right? I have not got bow legs.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if anybody's realised this, but if you go back and look at any professional footballer, they all have one trait. They got bow legs, and we're going to put some graphics up here. You know, you know. Now you look at David Beckham there, right?
Yeah.
Look how bow-legged he is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at you know, Rooney. You look at any of those players and stand there and look at them. And they all got bow-legged, you know. And to normal people's legs, as you know, and we've got these bit of X-rays coming up, right? Normal people's got straight legs. Footballers don't. Their legs go out like that. And I reckon what it is, it's to do with the balance, you know. They're bow-legged out like that. They have to stand with their feet apart. That is their natural stance. You never see a footballer stand with his toes together, do you? Or his heels together.
It's
they
funny.
just don't stand that.
You've mentioned Wally Scoble, he was bow-legged, and I mentioned Jimmy Kane, he was bow-legged as well. And it's the way they walk, it's just... Next time you see a game of football, you watch the way a player walks, the way he stands. Yeah. They all stand with their feet like at shoulder width, don't they?
That's right. They're planted like that. And this is something, I mean, I noticed years ago when I started playing with Wally down the Cray Valley Paper Mills. I thought to myself, oh, you're not bow-legged, old Wally, there, you know. Yeah. But he and also gives him that little bit of lower centre of gravity, you know. Yeah. But he would ghost past. He was fabulous.
Well, you got to have the skills. But I mean, there's this trait of professional footballers with this bow-leggedness, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe it's the amount of football, the way they're trained, it makes their legs go bow. I don't know, but it's definitely a trait.
Yeah, but I think even in younger players, and I reckon these scouts, these football scouts, they ain't got to look at the skills. They've got to just look first of all if they've got bow legs. Then if they haven't got bow legs, they're automatically ruled out. You know, we only want the bow leggy, but easy for a scout, then, isn't it? You know. Well, what do you reckon, Mick? So we'll wrap it up.
I reckon that is it. Just remember, if we haven't mentioned you or someone you know that played, our apologies. We've racked our brains and tried to remember everybody that played, but obviously there's going to be some people slipping through the net. So
there's people on the, you know, Kevin Duffy. I mean, he was Kevin was a good player.
Yeah, right? And his brother, and their old man.
Yeah,
he played for Cray United into his I don't know if it
was early 60s. I don't know.
I don't know. Definitely his 40s. Whether it was with his 50s, I don't know. Perhaps Kevin can let us know. But he was there for out of merit, not just because he wanted to play. He was a bloody good footballer as well as Kevin and Barry.
Yeah, great players. You know, great players. Mm. You know, we're going back on the subject, but you know, there were some bloody hard players as well around the Cray. You know, you look at Bobby Mason. Yeah, he'd tear your ear off, wouldn't he?
He was a good player to have in the centre there, wasn't he?
He was, you know, but his legs was like, you know, tree trunks, you know, and compared with me and some of the other players. I think we've covered it there as far as we can. Yeah. So look, if we if we haven't mentioned anybody, you know, it's not that we don't appreciate your play or anything like that. We're very limited time, Nick.
Yeah.
We're going to put a bit of a list at the end of some of the players we remember.
Yeah.
And again, if we missed you off the list, well, we could just apologise.
Yeah.
You know, just send us an email and we'll, you know, we'll put it in the bin or something like that. No. Anyway, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, thanks for watching.
I just wanted to mention our next video, Mick, our next minisode. Bit of a special one, mate.
Is it? You've obviously been thinking.
Yeah, no, a bit of a special one because we're going to have a guest.
Oh, of course, yes. Yes.
We're
Mystery guest.
We're going to have a mystery guest presenter on our next, which is the first time ever, isn't it?
It is, yes.
You know?
Yet another first for Blackman's Bay Studios.
We're going to have to widen the screenshot of the studios, of course, but so
watch out for that
Look out for that one. That's going to be in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So, thanks for watching.
And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This has been a Blackman's Bay studio production.